That Pathaan is a mega success, no one can dispute. But the debate carries on as to what the message of this stupendous success at the box office is. I'm Barkhadat, you're with the Mojo story. Today we'll be talking about one of the country's favorite talking points, Shah Rukh Khan. Mr. Khan, after the resounding success of his movie, has had his own message for India. At a celebration press conference, he invoked an Amar, Akbar, Antony message to talk about his co-stars and cinema, Deepika Padukone and John Abraham. But at a time when Shah Rukh Khan has come under attack from the hashtag brigade, a section of right-wing social media warriors who call for the boycott of this film, there's been a lot to talk about in terms of what is the message? How do we understand this victory? Why does Shah Rukh mean so many different things to so many different Indians? And is this success for the love of Shah Rukh or for the love of the movie? And are those two separate things? Writer author Raja Sen has a very, very intriguing piece in The Mint, titled provocatively, Can Shah Rukh Khan be our Prime Minister? Invoking a parallel with Ronald Reagan in the United States of America, Raja actually talks about how people have wanted this film to succeed not because of the quality of the film itself, but because of a relationship that they have established and want to demonstrate to Shah Rukh Khan. Let's go across now to Raja, who, as I said, has this delightfully interesting piece, one that really got me thinking. And Raja, one of the things you've actually said in the film is that you've called Pathaan a kind of mediocre film, and you've made the point that people haven't showed up for this movie. Even people who are not typically film goers, have been scrambling for tickets. The country, of course, has been seeing all of these very very catchy versions of people dancing literally on stage, especially at single hall theaters. uh, what's going on here actually, according to you?
Well, I think it's not, like you said, it's not really about the film. I think the film has become emblematic of this stance. I know lots of people who are buying tickets and not going to the theater. I know people who are buying extra tickets for seats just as sort of a show of support and solidarity. And I think the people who are going to theaters are now going to have a good time. It's become more a festival than a theatrical experience. They're going to dance, they're going to laugh and shout and whistle. And I think, like I've written in the piece, one of the reasons the film does work is because you can't hear half the lines because people are busy hooting and hollering, and that is fantastic.
I mean,
People are going.
are you paying a compliment to the film, to the cinema goer, to Shah Rukh Khan? That's a kind of, as they say, meaty churi remark.
No, no, not really. I feel like see, I don't think it's a great film. I'm there, and I might be in the minority given the way people are celebrating the film, but I think they're not consuming it in the way normal films are consumed. I think our social media being full of people taking pictures of the screen. When was the last time you saw somebody you knew, or a serious journalist or an author, take a photograph of a screen and put it up? So that's happening. So I think it's become more like a Govinda Alare celebration than really to go watch a movie. So it's not about the film as much as it is about the stance.
So let me share a little story with you. When I was watching the film, there was a lady sitting next to me, and there was one particularly outlandish scene which I won't describe for those who haven't seen it. And she was kind of holding her head in an embarrassed sort of way, and then she kind of nudged me and she said, "Listen, Barkha." She recognized me and she said, I didn't know her. She said, "Please, can I request you don't tweet anything negative about the film, because yeah, I know this scene is silly. I know some parts of this film are silly, but I really want people to keep coming and seeing it for Shah Rukh." And to me, that one exchange kind of caught everything about how people are feeling. Now, the question is, why are they feeling it? There are all kinds of people, sort of you yourself included, who have spoken about sort of a love versus hate trope. But Shah Rukh himself, other than his Amar, Akbar, Antony referencing, and we'll get to that in a moment, he himself has not actually come out and declared war on anybody, declared a battle with anybody. So when we are announcing victors on his behalf, is that authentic? Is that legitimate, considering he's not even declared battle? Let me unmute
It
you one second. Yeah, go ahead.
is.
Yeah.
Well, I think he doesn't need to declare battle if we can make him our flag. That's what is really happening here. I think he has just become emblematic of the situation, of the time. People look back on his son's arrest and they think he's persecuted by the government. We don't know how much that was governmental. We can't, there's nothing official about any of that. But there is a perception that people have been against him, and he's just been quiet. This is one of the longest gaps in his career, 4 years plus without a film. And I think people were just wanting something. They wanted to see. I think there's a level of, what the Hindi word is apnapan. And with Shah Rukh Khan, I think for some reason India has decided to demonstrate that this is one of our boys, and you can't mistreat him. And even if Shah Rukh is not about this mistreatment, even if the film itself is politically a little bit towing both lines, there is a lot of affection for Shah Rukh which is coming through. This is become some kind of celebration of his oeuvre overall.
And do you think it has to do with the fact that he had this year where many people felt the trauma he felt when his son went to jail? All of those charges in a drug bust case were later dropped. But it played out for a while, especially on sections of our television media, in a kind of vilified way, and that must have been traumatic. He was returning to the screen after a long time, though he's been silent and not declared any positions vocally for many many years now. Is there a kind of ideological battle line around him? Because the success of the film shows you that people have gone to see it irrespective of how they vote. The numbers are too big for this to be right wing versus left wing.
Absolutely. I think people have realized that this is not about right wing, left wing, and which is why I've drawn the parallel with the Bharat Jodo Yatra, in the sense that it's about this idea of. I think people are connecting to this idea of love. It's not even about fan clubs. When Barka, I've been a critic for nearly 20 years now, and the point is that you see, Salman fans, Shah Rukh fans, they're all factions, right? But this is a point where everyone seems to be celebrating the film. It's not just about Shah Rukh. It's just the fact that people like this idea of loving a film, and I think that's what is bringing people back to the theaters. People are going and having a good time because they feel this film is allowing that. The film is allowing this kind of release, and yeah, it's bigger than Shah Rukh Khan's fan club. It's bigger than any particular political party at this point.
So let's pick up two of the interesting comments that you make. I don't even know if you were being purely rhetorical when you said, "Can SRK be a prime minister?" And you invoked a parallel with Ronald Reagan in the United States of America. Now, as I said, the last time Shah Rukh Khan actually took any sort of position on social issues was when he turned 50. I was one of the two interviews he did at that time. And because he faced, I think, he and I have never spoken about this, because I think he faced a enormous amount of toxic backlash from trolls. After that, I don't think I've seen an interview where he's actually taken a position, as it were, on any issue, except let's think about the celebration press conference where he invokes an Amar, Akbar, Antony reference. What did you make of that?
No, I think even Barkha, while I don't like the film itself, I think the fact that it is so much about fragmented Muslim identity at a time like this, that is a decision for sure. The fact that he talks about a guy who's not doesn't belong to any specific country at a time when a lot of our cinema is very jingoistic. He's talking about not belonging to any specific country or religion, but to being raised by the movies that his parents left him in a movie theater. So I think I think those are all stances in their own right. And when he says Amar Akbar Anthony, I think that's very powerful. I think that puts all of it in perspective. That he is somebody who is uniting rather than dividing, and I think that's what people are relating to.
And yet there is a moment in the film, I'm trying to not give away moments for people who still haven't watched it, where he's asked, "Are you Muslim?" And he says,
Hmm,
"Mujhe pata nahi main kaun hu." Very different
hmm,
from a "My name is Khan," where there is a complete full embrace of the Muslim pana, and the Muslim identity. The character, I mean, not Shah Rukh. Uh,
hmm.
what did you make of that moment when he specifically asked, "Are you Muslim?" by Deepika Padukone's character, and he says, "Mujhe to pata nahi," and then he invokes his, as you just described, that he doesn't really know his roots.
Hmm. I think it's more. I think it's basically a way to say that it doesn't matter what he is. I think that's what Shah Rukh Khan, as an actor, as a star over the years, like up till a few years ago or a few elections ago, we never really thought about Shah Rukh Khan being Muslim, right? He was Rahul, he was Raj. It didn't matter, um, who he was or what his origins were. And I think that's what he's trying to say here, that it doesn't matter. Am I a Muslim? I don't know. Maybe. Is that important? It doesn't seem to be.
So before I come to the intriguing title of your column, Can SRK be Prime Minister? I want to just play out that little clip from that press conference, the Amar Akbar Antony moment, and talk a little bit more about it. Listen in.
दिस इज दीपिका पादुकोण, ये अमर हैं, मैं शाहरुख खान हूं, मैं अकबर हूं, ये जॉन है, ये एंथनी है, एंड दिस इज व्हाट मेक्स सिनेमा. Amar, Akbar and Anthony, there are no differences that any of us have for anybody, any culture, any aspect of life. We love you, that's why we make films. We love you to give us love. हम भूखे हैं प्रेम के. हमको जब वो मिलता है आपका, अभी ये जब से अनुराग यहाँ बैठे हैं, इन्होंने 28 बार बोला 100 करोड़, 200 करोड़, 500 करोड़, 1000 करोड़, कितने भी करोड़ हो जाएं, वो जरूरी नहीं है. ये जो प्रेम मिलता है आपको हमारी फिल्म देख के, और हमको आप उस फिल्म को देखकर जब खुश होते हैं, उससे बड़ा कोई भी इनाम, उससे बड़ा कोई भी परिणाम नहीं है. सो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
So what Shah Rukh Khan very successfully does is to is to make all of us have a goofy smile on our face as we listen to him. It's his great skill, but it was his skill even earlier when he had a string of flops, right? He had films that didn't do well at the box office. So if this is an endorsement of his oeuvre and it isn't necessarily for the film, what's actually going on here? Why is this film the Bharat Jodo Yatra, as it were?
I think it's a bunch of factors. I think people, we are at a point when movie theaters had an inflection point. Lots of big movies were not working. People wanted to go for a film that promised what it said on the label. They were going for the spectacles, the RRR and the KGFs and things like that. And then for this film to come in, and basically what it promised was a celebration. And so after a point, what you're celebrating becomes less relevant. So I think that's what people are just trying, they're going in to be a part of something that they are feeling tangibly is more special than just a movie release.
And now to the title, can SRK be a prime minister?
Yes.
I mean, that's clearly a rhetorical question, but what you're actually suggesting there is that this one person, this one public figure, has done more to, in a way, galvanize and mobilize a kind of unity of response in a bitterly polarized public discourse otherwise. That's what I'm thinking you mean when you ask that question or you put that title to your writing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it is very rhetorical. Also, putting Ronald Reagan in there, one of the most, conservative presidents, was also cheeky. But the idea is that, Barka, I think, like I said, this is less of a film and more the promise of a film. In its own right, I think the question makes sense because Pathaan is not a film; it's a jumla, and people are buying into it. So that's where that comes from.
That's a funny phrase for our times. Finally, there are these in jokes. This is a spoiler, but I've got to give it away. The end of the film, after the credits, you have these two middle-aged men, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan, wondering whether it's time to pass the baton on, answering the criticism कि ये कोई और role क्यों नहीं करते? Why don't they make room for younger actors? And saying नहीं यार, अभी हम ही कर सकते हैं. We are the only ones capable of pulling this off. And to some extent, it's true because, as you said, there's nostalgia, there's familiarity. There's a kind of lived life moment when you see both of them, even having aged on screen. What did you make of both of those men being there together, talking, looking back on their lives now as middle-aged men?
Right.
For once, Shah Rukh wasn't sort of being that romantic hero who has a relationship with somebody who's significantly younger. I mean, there's a whole different conversation about Deepika's character, but this conversation is not about that. There's a clear self-referencing to having got on in the years.
Right, absolutely. No, I think, see, despite my misgivings about the film itself, the point when Salman Khan shouts "Bhag, Pathaan Bhag" as a reference to Karan Arjun, it lifts the heart. It really made me take me back to the 90s, which again took me back to a very mediocre film called Karan Arjun. So the point is, it's not about the film. It's just the fact that we remember how much we have cherished these people over the years. And then when they sit down and talk about passing the baton, we are part of that. We are part of that moment of, okay, no, maybe it's not time for you guys to go into the sunset just yet. I mean, it's fine. You both are you're looking pretty good for somebody who's pushing 60, and you're making it work. So we're going to stick around and watch you do this.
And of course, at the celebration sort of event of this movie, the slogans that were being sort of raised in the air, Raja, as you know, were Bharat Ki Shan, Shah Rukh Khan. And I think just that sort of festive, upbeat, feel goodness was something that maybe people were craving, and the movies brought it back. And so, I think you're right. It's the hope of a and it's also becomes like a phenom, right? It becomes the phenom where
Yeah.
everybody wants their video like the one you're seeing on the screen, dancing to Jhume Pathaan. Well, thank you, Raja. Beautiful piece. I have to say, I got to read it. I don't know how on my WhatsApp. It's going viral. I'm wondering what the WhatsApp uncles who normally have a conspiracy for everything will have to say about it. But I'm sure even they have privately, if not publicly, just enjoyed going out and having a few laughs and dancing to a song and not thinking too much about whether it's a good, bad, or mediocre film. Thank you, Raja. Always a pleasure talking to you. Take care.
Thank you, Barka. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.